Bill here. It's Saturday, the 29th of October, 2022. I'm going to be doing a video of some newer stuff in honing with some new stuff I've gotten. And what I'm going to be doing, and I did do a dry run on this. I had one of these China Wonders that I did that, and so far I like this. Okay, I didn't kill the edge on this, so I don't really know if the change that I made is based on a further hollowing of the bevel. And then my second work was this one here. This was one of the ones where the difference in the two radiuses of the stones I had moved back and forth between the two too quickly. So some of that and a lot of what I have read, I'm trying to implement in a modern way. The 1840 Grinder's Handbook information that came from there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and this is a 7/8 Tiers Sword, and I almost hate to do this because I honed this up and I shaved with it a couple times, and I've been shaving with it pretty regularly, and it's gotten to the point where it's smoothed out a little bit and it's really shaves good. However, I'm going to do this because I want to evaluate if my ideas work. I think they do based on the test I did. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the curviest stone, okay? And I'm implementing the practices outlined in the 1840 Grinder's Handbook, where they talk about the shapes of the stones and a more convex and moving towards flat gradually, and also going from a coarser grit to a finer grit in finishing. And then ultimately they finish with some sort of an abrasive on a strop. And what I'm going to do is the first step is going to be on the curviest stone. Okay, and even on this little 4/8 razor, under my scope, I can actually see that there's three curves that I put into this. And I'm liking it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one, and I am going to and I deliberately bought these Naguras or slurry stones. These are Nano Superstone for this purpose, and I'm going to make a slurry that will make this pretty aggressive. Although with an aggressive slurry from a 1,000 grit stone on here, it is less likely to create, if I hit the edge, it's less likely to create a chip out than it will right on the stone. That's been my experience. And step number 2 is that I'm going to use the lesser curvy one. This was the first one. This is made on the Jared plate in the 9-inch dimension. This was made largely by hand using a diamond plate, a flexible diamond plate, a thin. It's not supposed to be flexible. It's supposed to use flat, I guess. But I put it on a sink bridge a lot the way that JPO had shown, because he has manually shaped his stones, and when he said he did an arc and it didn't take that long. That surprised me, and that got my interest because it took me a long time using strictly abrasive papers with a little bit of a charge of silicon carbide abrasive powder added to it. Okay, so that's second step. Okay, so I've got the deepest back bevel, then I've got the next And then what I'm going to do is then I'm going to, and I did buy this because I wanted to have like the same thing. I did buy this. This is shaped in the 11-inch direction off of the Jared plate. I'm not going to use this. This does cut a little bit quicker, but I'm thinking I want to use this a little bit more and get this burnished down a little bit. So I'm going to use my Black Arc, which is got some more smoothing and burnishing to it than that one does. And I'm going to put a little bit of a slurry on that one. And this would be a Nano 12K. And I don't know, did I say I was going to use the 5K on the intermediate 9-inch dimension Jared plate stone? That's what I'm using, and I'm going to put this one on there. And so far I like it. I'm liking that. And then that'll be very, very close. And then what I'm going to do is then I'm going to on the Suhiro Gokumo 20K that is shaped in the 11-inch dimension on the Jared plate. I'm going to use that. And just what kind of strokes I use, I'm not really sure. I found on the one razor a stropping type stroke seems to work. So I'm going to try that. And I almost never do this. I almost never take and kill an edge. Just because I don't really necessarily see the need to do so. And I almost hate to do this because it's like, this thing seems to shave so well. And I got my push cut there. It's like, okay, and that's what I go after. That's been my evaluation, and that seems to correlate for me to how well it cuts in the shade. But I am gonna rub that on glass a little bit, and this will be the commercial for the shaving cadre. Okay, the greatest shaving form of the face of the earth, www.theshavingcadre.com. Great bunch of guys, and the only shave form on the face of the earth that lets you talk about this kind of stuff. So go there, great guys. Zoom call coming up. I don't know if I'll get to shave with this piece or not and get a thing posted, but I will. This was the shot glass. It was one of in the little package, the little package, gift package for the 2022 convention. There's a convention come up in 2023 in San Antonio, Texas. So a lot of us are looking forward to that. So this is my tool, and I am going to do what I never do. Now, I'm not going to take that across the edge of a stone because that might give me a little bit more to have to bring back. But that definitely takes away the push cut that I was getting, and it kind of bounces a little bit. Okay, step one. And let me see if I can focus this down to let you see what I'm doing. This is the second stone I shaped. This is the real curvy one. And there'll be water on here. And the 1000 grit slurry on there. I've got my scope sitting right here. And I evaluated the other stuff I've done, and I do kind of like it. It's very, very interesting to see 3 distinct curves in there. You know, it's interesting in looking at this razor. This is one of those razors where famously French, where these are performers and they have stylish, French stylish to them, but in their minds, these do not have to be the perfect prismatic triangle that many of us like to think that this is supposed to be, because the French were the first ones that talked to Jared, the owner of the Superior Shave, about honing. And I've seen, and I have a number of these. I love these. I really do love these razors. Okay, but they are bendy. Okay, and if you look at this, if you look at the bevel, this looking at the bevel, this kind of, you know, there's definitely a bend in this blade somewhere. Okay, is that a defect? It is a defect if you're a consumer that thinks this razor maker, who's been making razors for I don't know, 150 years or whatever, that they don't make them right, because you can't hone them, and you refuse to hone them in the method that they do or describe that it should be done. So that's the story. And if, you know, all I know is that it's not, for me, this became not only just honing a razor, but what it did was it enabled me, and you know, I've never really learned to hone on flat stones. You know, I kind of gave up on that very early on, because I just found it very difficult. And this I found something that I could understand a little bit better. I'm really not even looking at this. I'm just kind of going by feel, where I feel metals coming off. I'm going until I feel like I have a consistent stroke going across without, you know, so it's kind of in balance. And that may be something that I'll never totally get with this. It's one of the beauties of following this this style, is that since you're removing back in to the bevel, you're removing metal, it makes it clear. Okay, so even though the back part may have some bendy stuff in there that I'm not going to get my little triangle here with this, I will on the next step hit into further up towards the edge, into where I had cut out a clearance way for it. So to kind of show you the stroke that I'm using, okay, I am using a fair to moderate amount of pressure, and I'm alternating pressure from this side to the toe as I slightly move across, because this stone is not the pronounced ellipse, but it is an ellipse. Okay, there is a curve this way as well, but it's not this pronounced. I really should measure to see what kind of radius I'm working on here with this. I didn't, because that particular number is not something that I'm really that concerned with. And the reason I'm not that concerned with it is because this is as curvy as I can make it. And let's have a look-see and see how it does. I do have my scope over there. This is a glass I got. I forget where I got this. The big one is useless for this, but what I like is that it has this LED light, and it uses AA batteries. So I use this little part because it's powerful enough, and it does give me a little bit of sight in there. Oh, and that reminds me, on curving the stones. When Jared saw that I did this, he had an interesting comment, and he made that comment, and before I even responded to the comment, I had to go do that. He says, what you should do is you should take your diamond plate and put it on top of this, and take a small stone, because he saw it at that big famous German razor manufacturer Dovo when he was over there. They have a shaped stone that they use. Okay, so it did not take that long at all. I took the plate and I put it on top of here, and I have this. Okay, now this is not quite as curvy as this, because by the time you put the plate on there, it builds it up, so it's a little bit less. But I do have, and I don't know if you could see that I have pretty much a mating curve to that, and that helps where, like when this was new, I took it and I used this to kind of burnish it down. Great idea, great tool. So let's see what we got here, okay, under the magnifying glass. And one of the nice things I like about using the Superstone slurries on the arcs is what you see on, okay, this had a pretty good polish on the bevel, because I had finished this off on the pasted strops, and the CBN I use is not really paste, it's an emulsion. So it's, once the carrier, which I believe is just water and some emulsifiers and stuff to keep it from clogging, once that dries out, all that's left is the abrasive embedded down into the strop. But when I use the Nanimal stone on here, this was polished. I can look in here, and I didn't spend the money on my microscope to buy the camera because it wasn't that important to me. What I want there is information for myself, so I can see it. I don't necessarily need, even though I am making these videos talking about this style for other people to look in on it, and other people who may want to learn, it just wasn't that important to spend that extra amount of money. And there's a, if you look at AmpScope, there's 1,000,001 different microscopes, and if you go with a trinocular, I'm not so sure if that is still a stereo wide field, okay, because that has the camera mounted thing, so the camera is a separate thing on there, and I'm not so sure if you get the same effect of the stereo microscope, where there's actually, you're looking in, each eye has its own little way, so you're kind of looking in and you get some sort of a perception of depth in there, and you can look at your curve. So what I'm seeing here is a frosting on the edge. So a lot of the polish is gone, and for the most part, I am almost all but at almost all but at the edge. So I've cut away, I've back beveled into this significantly to thin that bevel out. And when I say thin that bevel out, it's we're talking the concaving, the hollowing of that, almost to the previous edge. Now I'm going to have to reestablish that edge, and I'm 20 minutes in on my talk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to do a real quick. This is the second step, the less curvy stone, and it's going to be pretty much the same thing with this, with a 5K Nano with Superstone slurry on there. And what I had found on my other ones is, like, in most things you hear people talk about setting the bevel and that kind of stuff. That's kind of what you're doing, okay? Because as you progress through the next step, and it's a little bit different here with, for me, in honing with, because I'm not worried about setting the bevel as in establishing the prismatic triangle, the perfect prismatic triangle, and then just refining that as I go through a progression. What I am doing is I'm looking at the razor and I'm going from the feedback on the sound and the feel and the feedback that I'm getting, and I'm giving the razor what it needs to get to the edge. And that's where I think that that this style leaves you with a lot less of the dreaded hone wear that leads people to put tape on their razors to preserve them, because you're just not, you're selectively abrading the piece for where it needs to be abraded, instead of abrading everything all the time, every stroke, because you have this huge, big, prismatic, triangular plane that you're trying to almost like a wedge that just doesn't have as much metal to move because they hollowed some of it out. So I'm 22 minutes in, and I'll do a couple of strokes here, and I feel just coming along here like this, there's less of the hiccup that I was feeling in there. So I took out some of the further, and it'll be interesting when I get under the scope to see how very big that is. So I'm gonna work this a little bit, and then I'll jump back in when I am on the black arc with the 12K. So talk to you soon. Okay, that step 2 did not take too terrible long. Quite. Everybody see my tragedy? That was part of my educational process into what led me to think more and more about using diamond plates to shape these hones. Even though I do finish the shape on the Jared plate, you can, I don't know if you can see, it's had some pretty jagged edges on there, and I was surprised at how, with the diamond lapping plate that I have, how easily that abraded off of there. So what I am seeing in this, okay, is it's pretty amazing. I'm almost looking in the scope, and I'm almost seeing into the bevel about the same amount of distance that I used to see the difference between, on most razors, 6/8 razors, the difference between my original curve on the Jared plate 9-inch dimension. Look, I'm using these terms. You're going to have to look on some of my other videos. It's an elliptical plate that I use to shape these. But the dimension between the short dimension, the 9-inch dimension, the 11-inch dimension, or the 6-foot wheel versus the 24-foot wheel, you would see about, on a 6/8 razor, you would see about almost a splitting in the contact of the hollowing of the bevel. This is actually even more than that. So it was very, very interesting, and you can see with the different grits that I'm using, you see different amounts of scratch pattern that's in there, so you can see what the difference is. Now, if the other razors are going to be any indicator for me, is what's going to happen with this. And I've used this 12K with a slurry on this stone before, and this does yield a remarkable looking polish. Not as much as what I'm getting on that Suhiro, or what I was getting before I loaned Matt Nuki my Nano 12K, but nonetheless, you'll get a polish, and that's kind of also a thing where you're kind of helping get some feedback, and so what I'm doing here, and I have to rock a little bit more with this, because this is the same dimension this way, it's this dimension this way, and then it's the 12-foot wheel. This should not take long at all to kind of reestablish that edge. And what I'm not doing, because I am finishing on the Suhiro, I'm not using the Ballistol lubricant on this. I have done it, I've just not gotten good enough to get the results that I want out of that. This seems to be what I like a little bit better. Let's take a quick look here in the glass while I still got you. I don't think this is another step, and I don't think it's going to take all that long to do. Now, the first time you hone one of these, it does take, wow, remarkable. Okay, so I'll have to get it under the scope, but so I have visually, distinctly, 3 different in the bevel, and maybe I should have got the microscope, but in that bevel I have 3 distinct different levels of abrasion that are in there, different concavities, and that I think is I don't know if I'm going to get at this particular step, I don't know if I'm going to get now I'm getting a little bit of push cut on the toe. The heel needs a little bit of work. I'm going to give the heel a couple more swipes here. Ultimately, where I wanted to go was I wanted to eliminate some of the try to eliminate some of the steps in my stropping. I have not been successful at that, and one of the things I kind of theorize is that the abrasive, even though the abrasive particle size is larger than the Suhiro 20K, it's a stropping motion, and the media that the abrasives are on, balsa, has some give to it. So what it looks to me like I get a polishing of the entire bevel as it goes through there, plus a continual drawing out of the edge, a pulling out of the very, very edge as I go through that strop progression. And then the last thing I finish on is a roux. It's a bench mount. It's flat, and when I look under the scope and I look down onto when I look down onto this edge, you can see at some of these earlier steps, you can see little glints of reflected light right on the edge, and it's almost non-existent when I am finished. And you look down with that scope, and that's like that's like 40 power. So, and that's, I think, that's a real 40 power with glass optics, and not a 30 power with a plastic sort of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out. I'm going to work a little bit more on this heel a little bit. I'd like to see this a little bit better. That's where for me, this test is a very, very valid thing, because it's like I don't really have enough arm hairs, and I haven't really had any success with hairs out of brushes and doing that sort of thing. That's been something where I can really, really see where I'm getting some results. And I do need a little bit more in this area right here. It's not going to take that much, but I want to see that a little bit more consistent from toe to heel. And then I'll start up on the Suhiro 20K. I'll evaluate in the microscope. Come back if I need to. And until the next step. Okay, back again with the sun in my eyes. So the day is progressing along, and I got some barbecue going out there, so taking time to watch that. This is pretty amazing. I've gone through this, and this is something that I have found occasionally I have to do to move from the one radius back to and go forward a little bit less with this new curve that I've got. I do really, really like this, and it's pretty amazing what I've got with this. I had to go back and I had to back bevel it a little bit more, and I'm at the point with this one off of the Suhiro and looking in the scope, seeing distinctly 3 different curvatures in there, 3 different hollows in there, and you can look at that now that I got the light going in there, and you can see this is every bit as goofy looking as that razor I did for Matt, in terms of having some bends in it going on. I don't view this as a problem. The French don't think it's a problem. The French have figured out how to hone these. The Germans do a little bit better, but their razors are bendy too. If you don't want to take that risk, buy a Shavette and a machined razor. Anyhow, what I'm getting here, okay, I'm getting a little bit of a push cut, better than I usually get at this stage on the stones. One of these days, I'm going to go directly not today with this one, but I'm going to go directly from the stones. I'm going to skip most of, maybe I'll skip all of the abrasive strops. I'm not sure. I really think that adds something, but I want to see how well does this shave if I go right from this right to leather and then shave. That's something that I want to see how that's going to work. So I'm pretty much done with that here. I really like it. I got a feeling this is going to shave much. It was shaving well when I first honed it. It was aggressive to my liking. It did smooth out a little bit, and I really liked it when I shaved in the middle of the week this week. It was like, man, it was just so delightful, so smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and run this through, and I may do a shave and post that up over at the Shaving Cadre for my normal Bill TV shave video. But this kind of ends it for the honing video. For those of you who may be new tuning in, what I finish on, I do finish on balsa strops. I have a series of 6. Okay, this one has the Herald or the Dovo green chrome oxide. And I marked these. These are shaped on the Jared plate in the so there's an ellipse here, and I have there's a magnetic mount. I have a little thing. I got these at Chef's Knives to go, and generally I just kind of do a gentle stropping action. You do have to kind of roll across with it as you do that. And the thing that I have noticed in doing this, I do that same check with that packing peanut, is that each step yields to an improvement. And not only is it confirmed here with the packing peanut, it's confirmed with the microscope. I'm liking what I'm getting. I'm very, very glad that I hand shaped this stone the way I did. I think if I had to do it again, maybe I would not necessarily need 3. I have them. I'm not going to give them up, but I like this a lot better than the lesser curved one. I've done now 3 razors with it. I haven't shaved with any of them yet, but I will. But just based on what I'm looking, it's a little bit more curve is good. And anybody who's considering looking at honing with convex hones, you don't have to buy this shaping plate. You can just like my friend John JPO in Norway did. He shaped all of his stones by hand with a diamond plate, a flexible diamond plate. You could do that. I imagine you could take, and I had thought about especially like when I was doing this bugger. I had thought about getting into a vise and using an angle grinder, or using I don't have a commercial belt sander or anything like that, but I'm sure there are ways to move away the material on a rock much more quickly than using sandpaper. Certainly the diamond plate worked on this. I did a lot of rough shaping on a flat plate. I did a lot of that kind of stuff to take a lot of bulk out of there. And you can do that. And it does help to have some sort of a way to kind of finish and maintain these things. Certainly the softer synthetics, you are going to need to maintain them. I'm thinking some of the synthetics, the nano stones that I had, 5 or 6 razors, and you got to go back and you got to make sure you check them for their shape. These arcs, they really hold it really well. I suspect that the Suhiro also, because this is plenty hard. This is it's not as difficult to shape as the translucent arc or the black arc. Might be a little bit easier to shape than this, but that was not an easy piece to shape. It was a good exercise. So check out shavingcadre.com. You'll find me there. You'll find threads that can talk about the convex honing methods. You'll find plenty of other discussions of numerous different interests that people have over there. Personal interests, and a lot of the guys that look in the member video section, a lot of great guys over there that have really good content. It shows that they're real people. A lot of times, they talk about things going on in their personal lives and things that interest them. Just a great place to be. So with that, signing out, Bill M here. Y'all take care. You all have a great week, and we'll catch you on the shave. Okay, I had to come back again. Just as I was signing out, there's people in the house here that are related to me, and they said I said an awful lot. I probably did. And it was pointed out to me that it reminded them of the game. So if you're out there, please forgive me. Y'all take care. Bye.